And the debate over the federal budget rages on in Washington, as you know. Bloomberg Washington executive editor Al Hunt in D.C. with one outspoken member of the Democratic Party, Senator Chuck Schumer. Al?
Senator Schumer, thank you for being with us.
Morning.
Republicans say taxes are off the table, no deal as part of the debt ceiling increase. You say it can't be done without revenues. What's going to happen?
Well, right now, I think both sides have sort of said what they want to do. And there's a good news that there's a consensus to really reduce this debt by $4 trillion over 10 years or 12 years. But that's a pretty good consensus, and that's a deep number. That'll really help the United States in the credit markets and everywhere else. So how do you get there? There are two. Everyone agrees there's going to have to be significant spending cuts on discretionary spending, both military and non-military domestic. But to get to the $4 trillion, you can do it one of two ways. You can greatly shrink Medicare, which is what Ryan proposed in his budget, or you can increase revenues. Or not even increase them, but prevent their continual decrease. And that's what Democrats propose. And I think that we're going to win that fight because most Americans realize that there are lots of different loopholes that shouldn't be, that the tax code is riddled with them, that reducing the taxes on the millionaires, as Bush has done, this is a group, I'm pro people making a whole lot of money. I think it's great, and it's great for my city. But to reduce the taxes even further on those doesn't make much sense.
So you think there will be an increase in the debt ceiling before August 2, and it will involve higher taxes?
Well, I think that what it will do will be, there'll be a mixture of spending cuts, which will probably exceed the amount of revenues. There will be revenues, but the revenues will focus on closing loopholes that exist in terms of deductions that have far outlived their usefulness and preventing what Ryan proposes, which is continuing to reduce the taxes on the high end.
Would it restore those Clinton-era tax rates for people making over $250?
I think certainly for people making over $1 million, it'll go back to the Clinton years. Yes.
The Republicans say, show us something. We have a Ryan budget. We put something out there. You don't like it. You've criticized it. Why don't the Democrats produce a budget?
Kent Conrad is right now putting together a budget which will be supported by the Democrats in the Budget Committee, not the Republicans. And President Obama has laid out his blueprint. The major difference between his blueprint and the Republican Ryan blueprint is A, revenues in the ways I stated, 2, Medicare, treating it differently, but 3, and I think this is important, we have 2 goals in this country. One is to reduce the deficit, we have to, but the other is to have the country grow. And he has said in areas like education, infrastructure, and basic scientific research, we should not cut. They cut across the board. We propose it that they use a meat axe and we use a smart, sharp scalpel.
And John Boehner says if you increase taxes like that, it's going to be a job killer.
I don't believe that to be the case. In the Clinton years, that's all we want to do is go back to the Clinton years. We had the greatest prosperity there was. A leading head of Wall Street told me in those years, he said, you've convinced me. Lower interest rates are even more important than just reducing taxes.
Let me ask you about a couple other issues. Immigration. Any chance of getting anything done?
I think there's a chance. I don't put it at a majority chance, but there's a chance. We're still talking. I'm talking to both business and labor about this bill. I'm talking to my Republican colleagues, and I think the Republican Party realizes that the position of just doing nothing on immigration doesn't help them. Furthermore, there's becoming an economic imperative. All these brilliant people who come study in our universities want to stay here and start up businesses. But even at the lower end, you go to cities, and there are immigrants that are creating all the businesses. In Schenectady, it's happened in Utica, and in cities across America. So more and more people are realizing that our broken immigration system is an economic drag on the country. And I think that there's a chance we could get a bill.
How about trade?
Well, I think the trade issue is one that will have to be addressed in the next 6 months. I'd say the major opposition on the Democratic side is to the Colombia Treaty, not to the Korea, which is the biggest one, and to the Panama. There's some opposition there. And how that'll all work out, we'll have to see.
Let me ask you a final question. The Consumer Financial Protection Agency still doesn't have a head. Elizabeth Warren has been one person bandied about. Republicans say no way. Will there be someone nominated and confirmed this year for that important agency, and will it be Elizabeth Warren?
Well, I think the 44 Republican senators signed a letter that they're not going to confirm anybody unless certain changes are made. So the only way to get someone as head of the agency is a recess appointment, and I think that's the way it's going to have to go because the kind of changes they're asking for won't happen. Who it'll be, I don't know.
Would you support Elizabeth Warren?
I think she's done a very good job at setting up the agency, and I think she's not as anti-business as many people think, and I think she's met with banking leaders, and they've sort of become, they've sort of realized that. First question is who the administration wants, and second, whether if they want her, whether she wants the job.
Okay. Senator Schumer, thank you so much for being with us. Betty, back to you.
Al, thank you. Of course, that was Senator Chuck Schumer from New York.